loving, abundantly blissful, with abundant spiritual vibrations carrying us, guiding us.
Invite Anilji Jain on the stage to please invite Mahatria ji.
Thank you so much, sir. The purpose of JATF Samhara 2022 is to bring like-minded people like all of us to walk that extra mile to see how we can contribute to nation building and the community as a whole. So I think today we have with us, we're grateful that we have with us Mahatria, who himself is an ingenious persona, who's walked this extra mile for this very purpose. Not only has walked the extra mile, but his aura itself has done a lot of things around him. Today, he's not only inspired many people around the world, he has more than 7 lakh followers on various social media platforms. His enterprising approach of connecting generations' old learnings with contemporary perspectives has resonated with people globally across all ages. He has been successful in trying to bring all this together and demonstrate that walking that extra mile has always helped everyone grow. A living example of inculcating abundance along with balancing all aspects of life, he literally walks his talk. His sessions imbibe practical examples, experimental learnings, with a dash of rawness that makes it simply elegant and touches the soul. In fact, it wouldn't be wrong to presume that more than 80% of eminent personalities of Chennai follow his path of infinitism. I am positive that today's rendezvous with him would impart immense value and strengthen our purpose together. Please join hands to welcome the one and only Mahatria.
It is my pleasure to call upon Narendraji Balduta, Ganpatji Chaudhary, and Hemanji Jain to present a memento to our honored guest, Mahatria ji.
The most apt introduction for me will be that I am the most Jain who is not by birth Jain. I think that is the most apt. Probably if there was a living Jain who is not by birth from a Jain family, it will be Mahatria. I think so. I consider it my privilege and honor and right to address all of you this evening. I think there are a lot of blessings in life. I will not sell baji to a bajiwala. I'm not praising you because it is a Jain forum, but there are few sentences I will have to speak in praise of this. And they've not given me any topic, any specific agenda for this evening. They've just told me that I should delay your dinner by at least 1 hour. So whatever I am allowed to do till then, I'm allowed to do. I'm always grateful because for several years to explain to the rest of the world what is vegetarian was so difficult. And I'm always grateful. I've even shared a social media post on this. Now if you tell the world that I will only have Jain food, everybody understands. And I think that's a great gift. That's a phenomenal gift. And I'm not a Jain by convenience. I'm a Pakka Jain. Okay. In the sense, I will not have an ice cream by deciding not to read the ingredients in it because it might have egg in it. So there are a lot of Jains I know who will not read it because if they read it, they can't enjoy the ice cream. So they'll quietly have it. If later you point it out, then they'll do this drama. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, they knew it right through. That's why they didn't read it. Okay, but I won't. For me, live and let live is not restricted to being just a vegetarian. One of the reasons I spontaneously have said yes every time to a G2 initiative. You all should know that I try and never address a forum which has any discriminative connotation. But I've done a program in Pune, in Bangalore, and now in Chennai, India's most prestigious forum. For that simple reason, I like the cause and the purpose that you guys represent. It's the larger good. To live your life in such a way that 50, 100 years after you're dead and gone, the impact of your life continues to benefit this world and benefit this humanity is the only testament of a life well lived. It's not about all that happens in your lifetime. I think we are all enjoying the privileges of generations before us. And it's the question of how we live our life in such a way that generations to come can benefit out of the life that we have lived and gone. And I think that's the central purpose of this entire forum. And that excites me a lot every time when I hear about the purpose and objectives of either this forum within G2 or this forum within that. There are few things that I wanted to speak in praise of before I do justice to this evening. I have a lot of respect for this forum because it encourages and promotes entrepreneurship first. Nothing good in the world can happen without money. Nothing good. You can't build a temple without money. You cannot win an election without money. This evening is not possible without money. You cannot create world-class healthcare facilities without money. You cannot, the pride everybody talks about, Jain University would have never happened without money. So money is required, and money is generated by entrepreneurs. I'll put it this way. I know in Pune I spoke a little bit about it. I vividly remember this, but it might be a repetition for some of you, but that's okay. I believe charity keeps a poor person poor. Charity never lifts a poor person out of poverty. As long as you go, what is actually charity? We are going and telling the world, you don't have to work, you don't have to sweat, you don't have to learn. Aisa hi baito. I'll give you the shelter, I'll give you the food, I'll give you the water, I'll give you the security, everything. What is the motivation for him to work? What is the motivation for him to grow? What is the motivation for progress? So as a result, charity keeps poor people poor. I know what she did, say Mother Teresa, is revolutionary. For one individual lady who was only a school teacher to build a missionaries of charities and to care for millions of people in over 140 countries in the world is phenomenal. To create a model by which you can take contributions from the have and give it to the have-not is phenomenal. But let's ask ourselves a bigger question. All those people, missionaries of charity, said, you don't have to do anything. Simply lie down, simply while away your time. We'll come and feed you today, tomorrow. Mother Teresa is gone. What has happened to all those people? They are waiting for the next set of sisters to come and feed them. They will just remain like this, poor in life. Charity will keep a poor person poor. Are we trying to help the animals? Because they cannot live for themselves. Are we helping the environment? It cannot take care of itself. Are we trying to help the birds? Because they cannot help themselves. But why would we practice charity with a fellow human being who has limbs intact, who has intelligence, who can work, who can come up in life? I'm not talking against charity. Here is the point. Charity keeps a poor person poor. Education and employment alone can lift a poor person out of poverty. Educate somebody, generations to come, nobody will be poor in that generation after that. Give employment to somebody, you have given dignity to them. You are essentially telling them, something for nothing is destructive charity, something for something is constructive charity. You give me work, you give me sweat, you give me merit, you give me the willingness to learn. Do whatever you want, something for something. I will give you a job. What will you give in return? I will sponsor your education. No empty sponsorship. There must be value. Because you did not dig pots from the earth and get all the money you've got. There is only one way to make money, human sweat. Either you have to sweat, or your customers have to sweat, or your employees have to sweat. Somebody has to sweat. There is no other way to make money. So a lot has gone into the making of the money. I will give you money. I will sponsor your education. Finance should not be a reason for you to be handicapped from further pursuing your education. But will you give me performance? 70% above, 80% and above. I love this forum. The moment I heard that we will support you, but you will have to become a civil servant for this country. That to me is constructive charity. That is nation building. That is true nation building. So the reason I'm trying to be so emphatic about this entire point is this. Charity keeps a poor person poor, which is something for nothing. Education and employment is constructive charity. Something for something. And it lifts a poor person out of poverty. And I know this entire group of people sitting here, you're either supporting education or by building businesses, you're providing employment. To me, you are the true social workers of this country. Entrepreneurs for me are the true social contributors of this country. For me, an entrepreneur is the epitome of sacrifice. They associate the word sacrifice with freedom fighters, with a lot of people. For me, an entrepreneur is the epitome of sacrifice. For all that is being spoken about, a world that despises rich people, let's recognize Rotary would not have almost eradicated polio if enough entrepreneurs did not fund Rotary. All the good would not have happened, could not have been done. I am a product of AM Jain College, Chennai. And there is a reason I'm sharing this with you. My father's salary used to be 300 rupees per month. He couldn't have afforded me to send to any other college other than a college where I paid only 172 rupees for every semester. Your father or your grandfather, somebody sponsored my education. That's why I'm standing here right now. All I have spent is 6 into 172 rupees to become a graduate. Somebody was ready to sponsor my education, and as a result, I stand here. So to me, any one of you who is an entrepreneur, in fact, this is one of the goals I give entrepreneur. Next year, your goal should not only be turnover goals, your goal should not only be profit goals, there must be a third dimension. How many more people will you give employment to this year? Must be one of your goals. Year on year, the number of families that will be lifted by the employment opportunities you create must be a goal. In fact, government should create a system like that. For every 500 employment opportunities you create, your tax percentage will come down by 0.5%. Then the government doesn't have to take care of this country. We will take care of the country. Private enterprise will lift this entire country if it can do that. And instead of giving you the tax and you doing it, we will directly lift the economic upliftment of this country. So in fact, I think a lot of organizations and institutions and businesses must be measured by how much employment opportunities are we creating on a year-on-year basis. So the reason I'm building this entire thing is I'm standing here with a lot of respect for all of you, with a lot of humility. When I start teaching, I tend to be too blunt and honest. So somewhere in the next 40 minutes of my teaching, if anywhere, if you find that I said something that was hurting, or if you think anywhere I have crossed the line, and I should not have crossed the line, it is not out of any disrespect to any one of you. It is not out of any arrogance that you call me to be a speaker today. It is just that I believe a teacher should reflect. A teacher is a mirror. You have asked me to be a teacher this evening, and I have this responsibility to honestly reflect you to you. If sometimes that is hurting, that is so be it. In the world I teach, I always tell them, if you have reached a stage in life where nobody will tell you you're wrong, even if you're wrong, then you're actually walking a very dangerous territory in life. If you have reached that stage in life, which I'm sure a lot of you have, they will talk around in that corner chai ka dukan, or they will reserve a table in Crown Plaza and discuss, "Oh, Anil kyun ye karta hai?" But what Anil actually requires is somebody who can walk up directly to you and tell you, "Anil ji, ab thoda off track chal raha hai aajkal." And you need somebody to do that. In fact, if you have reached a stage in life where you have lost focus or you're developing a weakness, see, it's so easy. Money, power, fame, position, opposite sex, all the five have the power to contaminate you. Money, power, fame, position, opposite sex. All the five have the cover to contaminate you. In fact, when five of them are standing at one end to tempt you, entire Jain Dharma, the other end will fail. You will know Jain Dharma before the temptation. You will know Jain Dharma after the temptation. But somehow you will not remember it during the temptation. In that moment, jhoot chalta hai. Forget about big mistakes. You feel this is it's not practical to be honest. Anything you can't practice is impractical. So we can say in that moment. And during that moment, we need somebody to stand at the other end. When Arjuna said, I will not fight the war, if Krishna had agreed, there is no Mahabharata, there is no Kurukshetra, there is no Bhagavad Gita, and that man would not have been restored back to his greatness. We all need that moment. It might come as a teacher, it might come as a friend, it might come as a guide, it might come as a scene in the movie, but we all need a reflection where sometimes when we are going wrong, we need somebody to walk up to us and say, I think you're going off track. I think all of a sudden the sense of money has created so much ego in you, because to run this entire conclave, you inviting me for 1 hour, for me it's only 1 hour. If all of us are put together, it's 300 hours of your time. I don't think being the speaker this evening is a status you have given to Mahatria, it's a responsibility you have given to Mahatria. I have to be worthy of your time. You chairing this entire thing is not a it's a responsibility, it's not a status. That whether it is helped by this forum, and I know, always Tera Mehnat is there, that you have become a civil servant, that I am an IAS, is it a status or a responsibility? And at any given time, we need somebody outside, because these five can contaminate you before you realize. We will know everything before the incident. We will know everything after the incident. During the incident, it will betray us. We'll continue to convince ourselves that it's okay to drink. We'll continue to convince ourselves what you do in Thailand and Bangkok, chalta hai. In this forum and all, we will speak. You know, Dharma we will speak about the teachings, and we will speak about. Easiest thing to do in the world is what I'm doing right now. Give a speech. The toughest thing to do in the world is to ensure that the message and the messenger are one and the same. To live by what you speak. And hence we all need a mirror. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to be a mirror. I'm not being over dramatic. I do it in all my programs in the very first session. That's what I'm going to do now. In case in the next 40 minutes, anything that I say might hurt any one of you, in advance I'm seeking Michami Dugudam. Because now I want freedom to speak. अभी इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, ओपनिंग बैलेंस डाल दिया, मिच्छामी दुक्कडम, अभी कुछ भी बोल सकते. There are primary responsibilities and there are secondary responsibilities. No matter how much you succeed in your secondary responsibility, if you fail in your primary responsibility, you are still a failure in life. No matter how much you succeed in your secondary responsibility, if you fail in your primary responsibility, your life will continue to feel incomplete. Let me give a few examples. In school, the primary responsibility is to ensure that education is imparted. That is why children are coming to school, whatever that education is. So the entire school management have to recognize their primary responsibility as an educational institution is the advancement of academic capabilities of a student. Of the extracurricular capabilities which can only be inculcated in a school environment or a college environment is their primary responsibility. At home, ensuring the right value system is inculcated into our children is your primary responsibility as parents. If let us assume at home as parents, father, mother, both of you put together, at home as primary responsibility, if all the time we keep talking about, you have not done homework in maths, you have not homework in science, so school is also concentrating on academics. At home, you are also concentrating on how to get 98%, 99%, you are only focusing on academics. Now we have a 15-year-old whose value system is not developed. He is neither thinking it's important to be a good human being, nor thinking he has to follow the dharma. He has no sense of what is right and wrong. Now, whose failure it is? I think it's a parenting failure because you succeeded in your secondary responsibility. You have a chartered accountant right now. You have succeeded, who has inferiority complex as a self-image issue. You have failed in your primary responsibility. Let's take another example. I'm going to give a few examples. Let's take another example. Anilji, when he was introducing me, he read one line, Mahatria can teach any subject with added humor. So next 1 hour, I make all of you laugh. Lot of jokes. Easy, not difficult. You have to be intelligent to transform others. You have to be stupid to make everybody laugh. So it's not difficult. I have to say something and all of you will laugh. So I entertain you for 1 hour and go. No transformation. I have failed in my primary responsibility, which is to utilize this evening for transformation. Succeeded in secondary responsibility. At the end of it, you would have felt you could have better called a stand-up comedian instead of Mahatria. Entrepreneurs sitting here, so many of you entrepreneurs. You must have built the business because you are extraordinary in sales. I don't know most of you personally, so I cannot quote any of those names. But I know Kishore Jain personally, I know Ashwin Rathod personally, so I'll take 2 names right now because I know them personally. Now they built a business. They would have built a business because either they were technically brilliant or they were extraordinary in their finance management or very good in their selling abilities. They built the business. If right now also, Kishore Jain continues to insist he will only be personally involved in land acquisition, he will only go for registration, he will only talk to every customer, or Ashwin Rathod is still insistent on this. If you are every day doing a work which your manager can do, then who will build the future of your organization? So as the chairman of the company, your primary responsibility is to ensure what will this organization be 2 years from now? Creating the next line of leadership, creating policies, coming up with strategies, thinking about the next business vertical that you can start. How do I make business self-sustainable? Succession planning. Your son is already coming into the business. How are you going to create a seamless succession from how you have been running the business to how you can run the business in such a way that the business is able to pass from the chairman to the next generation of leadership without the father-son relationship getting affected in the entire process. Now, this is your primary responsibility. Secondary responsibility is taking care of sales and day-to-day operations and a lot of other things. So, a very big question that we have to ask is, what are your primary responsibilities and what are your secondary responsibilities? And are you having a lot of satisfaction succeeding? Big question. You know, it's a very strange question. If this entire foundation has helped some of the civil servants to become the civil servants, is my primary responsibility to the district or to the community? What is my primary responsibility? What is my secondary responsibility? If this foundation has created a lot of civil servants because we wanted righteous people to be in the right chair, that's why we have created. Now from the foundation, one of us go asking for a favor which is not within the chair. So the primary responsibility was to create righteous people to sit in the right chair so that nation building can be done. Right now, when I need a business favor, I'm going and asking, saying that, हमारा समाज से थोड़ा signature कर दो. And suppose he doesn't do, we get angry at him. Because of us only you became this. Don't forget this. When you were dying, I gave you a glass of water, because of which only you survived. Now this Bay of Bengal, write it in my name and give it to me. How to give? Now from the chair in which... So the primary responsibility is loyalty to the chair. Loyalty to the chair is primary responsibility. Whatever the chairs, if you are sitting as the chairman and managing director, then the interest of the kingdom is more important than the interest of the king. If there are times you have to sacrifice your own sentiments as the chairman of the company, but this is right for the brand, it must be done. The kingdom is the very reason you are the king. If the kingdom is not there, you are not the king. And my eyes looked around, very few queens are there. Otherwise, queendom also I will tell. Okay. Very few queens are there. I really wish there are more queens in this forum, because that is when it will be completely live and let live. This looks like let all men live, partially women live. Okay. I really wish that I see a lot more women leadership and women entrepreneurs in this forum. If I meet you again 10 years from now, I want it to be at least 60-40. And then I know we are truly engaged in nation building. That will be live and let live. This looks very partial. Anyhow, you are the king because you have a kingdom, which means the interest of the king also must be subordinated to the interest of the kingdom. Once in a way, some decisions have to be taken. Same is the case. Loyalty to the chair. What is in the interest of, define righteousness? Loyalty to the chair. And each one of you know, if you are loyal to the chair, what is the right thing to do. So I'm asking you a very fundamental question. Each one of you have to introspect and ask yourself this question. Is your success in a few secondary responsibilities giving you the false satisfaction of escaping your primary responsibilities? Primary responsibility, taking care of your health, cannot be delegated. Primary responsibility. Whatever you want to achieve. You want to achieve social change, political change, spiritual change, communal change, industrial change, whatever transformation you want to achieve, you can only achieve it with this body. And if this body, I'm sorry to tell you, 10 of them received me. 7 of them were overweight. And Mahavira is telling you, live. Then only let's talk about let live. Live means you have to live healthily. You have to live fit. You're not taking care of your health. If good human beings don't take care of their health, you will not live long enough to take care of the world. Nobody is going to tell you this. Everybody is interested in your donation check. Everybody is interested in your next contribution. Nobody is going to walk up to you and ask you this question, why are you overweight? Mahatria is asking you this question. Your legs will not be able to bear the weight of your body few years from now. You already have knee pain or it's coming. That little nurse 4.5 feet from Kerala cannot turn your body on the hospital bed. How are you going to be taken care? And you don't become overweight overnight. This is about 25 years of neglect for you to reach whatever you have reached. I have a right to speak. I'm 57. And I have a right to speak. This is my 3rd program today. And yet, at 4:30 in the morning, my yoga mat will roll. I don't have a right to ask the world to do anything if I don't do it first. And I think it's an obligation towards God. How do I put it? I'll put it this way. My own kerchief only. Sorry. If you sit in the front row, yes, what Just give it to me as a gift. You are with me? Now, Jayant has given me a gift. What? By abusing the gift, I have actually abused the giver of the gift. Okay. Normally, I ask for 2,000 people. 2,000 people. Thank you, sir. Now he has given me a gift. I kissed it and I kept it in COVID times inside my pocket. I cherish the gift. By cherishing the gift, I cherish the giver of the gift. By abusing the gift, I abuse the giver of the gift. This body is God's gift to you. If you are not taking care of your body, you are abusing God. All big talks. Maturity is not talking about big concepts. Maturity is about getting my life day to day simple things right. And the first thing right is, I'm about to tell you starting tonight, but chodo, till Sunday chutti, sab log ka. From this Sunday, none of you here will have your dinner if you have not exercised that day. And this is a new amendment to Dharma. From now onwards, starting Sunday, Father's Day, if you have not had your dinner, if you have not exercised that day, you will not have your dinner. Don't cheat yourself. Jada nahi Mahatria, sirf aadha roti, no roti, nothing. In fact, you sat on the dining table. One of you practice. When I deliver a speech, I'm never expecting all the 300 to get transformed. Arjuna had only one student. I'm better than that. Krishna had only one student in Arjuna. Poor fellow. Entire Bhagavad Gita he delivered to only one person. His entire chance of success was only 1% transformation. You've given me 300 people. I'm better than Krishna here. Okay, at least 2-3 will get transformed here. So that's a much better thing. One of you sitting here will practice this from June 19th to December 31st. That remaining 6 months and 11 days, you will not have your dinner unless you have exercised. I'll give you a solution also. You sat on the table, roti laga diya plate mein, then that dadiwala's face came. Oi, exercise kiya ki nahi? And it will come, 100% it will come. I want you to get up from the table, run around the table 11 times. Tell the roti, Tero, aur 10 round baki hai. Sweetheart, after that 11 rounds around the table, you sit on the table now and touch that roti. It may not be hot, but you will grow in your own eyes. For the first time, you will be able to respect yourself. We don't need more people to come and talk about what is right to us. We need more people to show us they can live by what they know is right in life. Life is not a choice between easy and difficult. Life is not a choice between right and wrong. Honestly, life is a choice between what is easy and what is right. If we keep choosing what is easy over what is right, we are not showing the next generation what is the right way to do it. If we have to be called as India's most prestigious, then it just cannot be that we have achieved success. That is only one dimension of your life. If we have to be considered not as a tagline, not even we tell the world we are India's most prestigious, the world has to recognize us as India's most prestigious forum. And if that has to happen, we have to be holistic role models to the next generation. Holistic role models. And it starts with health. And it's such a shame that with all the regimentation that has been taught, that we don't take care of our body. Primary responsibility. I would have under normal circumstances spoken about success. If it was to the younger generation, that I would speak about it. And any one of you who is less than 30 here, let me tell you, a lot of these people have achieved greatness in the past. The future greatness will only come from you. Get your life right, straight away. Don't live up to 40, 45. What we are all doing here is repair work. We have grown up to 45, 50, and now we are understanding what is the right way to live life. All of you are 30 and below. Get your life right. From now onwards, take care of your health. They say, if you do anything right with the body, whether it's diet or it is exercise, for 7 continuous years, I'm sure there are doctors sitting here, it undergoes a genetical correction internally. 7 years. It takes 7 years to undergo a genetical correction. Which means, instead of saying generation after generation, oh, diabetes wo family mein hai. Prestigious thing. Family mein hai. But if one of you, before you have your child, first child, if you had had 7 disciplined years with your body, and with that you produce a child, there are chances you will not pass these diabetes genes to the next generation. So all of you who are 30 and below have a responsibility to ensure that you get your life right before you bring a new life into existence. For me, that will be truly live disciplinedly and then let live the next generation. That is how you are being a role model. 3, love. I'm not complaining. There has never been anybody embodied more compassionate than Lord Mahavira. This is not because of this forum I'm saying. Some of these guys have heard me everywhere share this. See, till Lord Mahavira came, we were taught to love. But love was always restricted to a fellow human being. Always a fellow human being. If you took care of your brethren, that was considered love. For the first time, somebody walked into this planet and said, if you don't love all, it's not love at all. And expanded all forms of life within the circumference of love. Descending from that dharma, I'm reflecting, I'm not complaining. There is a lot of love towards animals. There is a lot of love towards the larger society. But I'm sorry to say this, a lot of you are not expressing enough of your love within the families. You know, all this bahut kar raha hai hum log, bahut. But somewhere I feel enough family communication is not happening. Because once we come home, we are all busy with our technologies. Television, phone, laptop, and new technologies are coming all the time. And we are not hugging our own family enough. Research says children will never go into perversion during adolescent years if they had experienced enough touch within the family. Primary responsibility. As parents, I know we hug our grandchildren a lot, but I'm asking, do we hug our children enough? I know your dad means the world to you, but when did you last touch him? Hey, nurse hai, best hospital facility you will give, and you will take blessings from him. You'll speak in praise of, you'll start a foundation after his time in dad's name. When did you last touch your dad? When mama is having her last 2.5 rotis that is left and sabji bhi khatam ho gaya with achar, she's having the whole thing. Which one of us sitting here will go and sit with her because that lady who woke up earlier than you and sleeping the last every day of her life is eating alone and you're busy checking Instagram? When did you out of turn? Why not tonight? Tonight, if you call, she will know you attended some program. Okay. Mama, however busy you are in business, how many seconds does it take for you to call from anywhere in the world to Mama and speak to her? Why should parents ever even say, I'm feeling lonely? We have solved one thing. We have solved a lot of people from going hungry for food in the world. Within your home, a lot of people are going hungry for love. Within your own home. Trust me. Your 16-year-old daughter is crying in her room because she is neither able to be the friend her friends want to be, nor the Jane that the parents want her to be. She is caught between this dilemma. When she listens to parents, she is very clear what you are saying only she should do. But when she goes out with her friends, she is not considered the school kid. So she doesn't know. She is caught between the choice between being her friend's friend and Samaj ka daughter. She requires somebody to make eye contact with her and speak to her. When without instructions, this is right, that is wrong, a half an hour face-to-face conversation, one of you sitting here had with your son or daughter in their growing years. So what if we have time for everything in the world and not everywhere you will be replaced? Here you will be replaced. Next year you don't take this position, somebody else will take this position. 25 years from now, you are not there anymore. Somebody else will become a member. The only place where you will not be replaced is your family. There is no substitute for you in the family. And you have to only answer this question when I'm talking about primary responsibility. Is your family getting enough of your love? I'm not talking about whether you love your family or not. Love has to be visible. It cannot be implicit. Deep inside the earth, a rock and a diamond both has no value. Only when it is brought to the surface, a rock is only a rock, but a diamond is a diamond. Same is the case with love. Mahatria, andar bahut hai. Oh, andar bahut hai. If tomorrow your sales head tells you, boss, bahut ideas hai, nahi bolega. Love that is not visible is not love at all. There is no point. People who cry the loudest in the funeral are always those people who were not expressive and demonstrative of their love to the family when the family member was around. Entire forest you are ready to cultivate. वो पीछे का एक small घर का garden संभालने का मुश्किल है. Whole society you want to build, entire nation you want to build. This, each one of you in your nest must be having 7-8 people. At least 4 times a year, call your sister or brother and talk to them. Don't wait for next Raksha Bandhan. That is the only day you remember also because of a tradition you have a sister. And don't tell me you don't have the time. I don't know how you all spell love, but to family, love is spelled T-I-M-E. That is how love is spelled. If you are not investing enough quality time with your family, they are not feeling loved. And I don't think anybody should go through this. I always say this not to make you sentimental, but I always say this. A boy in an abandoned home told me once, Mahatria, please go and tell your world that keeps complaining My father shouts at me, my father shouts at me. Please go and tell that world that at least they have a father to shout at them. I don't even have that father at all. And with tears oozing in his eyes, the boy said, Mahatria, please go and tell your world. A day will come in their life when the father will no more be there to shout at them. And that day they will realize it's better to have a father who shouts at me than not to have father at all. Your children will go away to Stanford, Harvard, Oxford to study. There'll only be a picture in the right now. If you don't experience enough of them, you will never get to experience enough of them. Don't miss people. Don't miss love. And love cannot be postponed. This year, if you don't do good to the society, next year you can still do to the society. But this year, if you miss out on loving a 2-year-old, next year you will not be able to love a 2-year-old because the child will not be a 2-year-old anymore. Primary responsibility: healthy, wealthy, loving, blissful. Unknowingly, we all have committed a mistake. You want to build the nation, then one transformation is required. You have to show happy entrepreneurship. You know what is happening? We are making entrepreneurship, doing business, or being a civil servant, or being a leader of the society as if it's a burden. Oh, ye problem hai, idhar corruption hai. In fact, the sort of image we are building about India when we talk to the other guys. Have you ever seen anybody from America come and speak bad about America? Have you ever seen a Singapore person ever speaking bad about Singapore? Only an Indian will talk about India is not like this, India is not good, India mein ye problem hai, India mein wo problem hai. India has all these problems, that's why we are tolerating and keeping you here. In fact, anytime when people speak about India as a problem, I tell them, hey, I'm giving you only 2 choices. Either live here and be a blessing, or leave India and be a blessing. Chhod ke ja, hum log sambhalenge. Now we have, you ask your son whether he wants to take over the business. He'll say, no, Dad, I would like to settle down in California. Because what he sees is, after all the risk you have taken, after all the business that you have built, finally you have one house, you have one car, you have one wife, you have one life. He feels if he goes and works for Google, he'll have one house, he'll have one car, he'll have few wives, and he'll have one life. So he's saying, why should I take over? Because, see, if I carry, or I'll put it this way, this is easier to understand. What is your primary responsibility of being an happy entrepreneur? I want the next generation to know that business is an adventure sport. Business is exciting. It's about passion. Leadership is all about how you create. And it's all a celebration. Entrepreneurship, building a brand, leading a district, knowing that I hold a position by which I can change the country. 60, 65 people in the entire country get to clear it, which means you are top 60 in a billion people in this country, and all this has to look like celebration. Dealing with politicians is difficult, dealing with transfer is difficult. Oh, if you don't take by this thing, this is a difficult, doing business is difficult, it's very competitive, it's a cutthroat competition, government is not supporting. And then you make 200 crores profit. Oh, easily they will give us it. 200 crores profit, a dunzo, they will come and give it to you and give. Only if you do all these things, you can make 200 crores profit. Obviously, all this will be there. If I carry, what's your name? You look too pretty. Huh? Suhana. Now, Suhana must be about 11 kgs. Suhana, you know what is your weight? No? We'll keep it as 11 kgs, okay? Now listen carefully. There must be some granite businessmen because half of granite quarries are owned by Jains only. Okay. If I carry 11 kg granite right now on my back and go up to that place and come back, I will come back panting for breath, sweating, and by the time I put it down, there will be a sense of relief. Ah! If I carry Suhana in my hand and go, this entire journey will be a celebration. And I'll come back. Why? When I carried the granite, I carried it saying, Kashtam, Kashtam, Kashtam. When I carried Suhana, I carried her saying, Ishtam, Ishtam, Ishtam. When you do anything in life as Ishtam, nothing is a burden. When you do it as Kashtam, even earning 200 crores is a burden only. It's a burden only. And I don't think we are creating the right environment either in business or in family for the world to realize work is happiness. Wealth creation is happiness. Leadership is happiness. It's a celebration. Very few people in the world get to play the alpha, the lead role. And it's not about being an entrepreneur. It's about being a happy, celebrative entrepreneur. We have lost celebration. In fact, the beauty of my country is celebration. Everything is celebrated. Birth is celebrated, naming ceremony is celebrated, whether it is Hanuman's birthday or Rama's birthday or Mahavira's birthday, everything is a celebration. Everything is celebration. Harvest is a celebration, Diwali is celebration, Holi is celebration, birthday is celebration. And here we are. We have lost that ability. Diwali we cannot celebrate. Why? Because noise pollution, this thing. Holi we cannot celebrate. Chemical this thing, so we cannot celebrate. Birthday I will not celebrate. Birthday celebration is a Western concept. Sweetheart, don't cut any cake, cut roti, cut idli. Idli cutting you do. If you don't want, don't cut. But don't stop celebration. We don't celebrate anything now. In fact, it looks like the way we are going, there will be only 2 days that will be celebrated in this country. Christmas and New Year. Nothing else will be celebrated. In fact, getting drunk will be the only concept of celebration. There will be no other celebration in this world. Entrepreneurship must be celebrated. Success must be celebrated. In fact, we should have, maybe it's already there. In our own foundation, we should have awards. Celebrating people for outstanding growth, fastest growing entrepreneur, young entrepreneur. We should celebrate this entire thing and be a role model to the next generation of being happy entrepreneurs. Spiritual. Please, don't be a Jain only in your name. I know it's hypothetical, if all the Tirthankaras have a forum meeting, in that forum meeting they should be able to say, I'm so proud of this guy, the way he lives his life spiritually aligned. Jainism should not be talked, it has to be lived. It has to be lived to every syllable. In fact, I don't think the doctrines of Jain Dharma should be restricted to the understanding of just a few of us. I think it will help the world a lot more. Lot more. I think if a few of the dharmas is taught as moral science in every school in this country, we will have a much more ethical country than what we have right now. We need living spirituality. Living spirituality is, the Tirthankaras expect you to spend at least few minutes every day of undivided devotion towards your spiritual practice. Knowing is not doing. If there is no puja in your life, if there is no meditation in your life, just that one trip to Palitana once a year, or probably creating enough brands with the name Jain in it, you're still not living spirituality. I think through you, children should know spirituality is a dinacharya. Spiritual practices are a dinacharya. It has to be practiced every day. Lot of people say, I do it regularly. Regularly is not daily. Daily only is daily. You don't regularly make money, you try to make money daily. How God alone is only all your disappointments in life is because you're not consistent with your appointment to God. It has to be a daily practice. I don't think there's anybody sitting here who can say that I don't have time for daily spiritual practice. Sacrifice your sleep by half an hour, cut your mobile by half an hour, give up your television by half an hour, maybe reduce your money making by half an hour, but you have to invest a few minutes every day in your spiritual practice. It has to be daily. You cannot achieve. If now after the session is over, you go out to drink water and that glass is dirty, will you drink water from that? When you go to the dinner, if that plate is dirty, will you eat from that? If you, the mortal, will not use anything, you go to the toilet, urinal, and you're about to piss and there you find that urinal has little stain and the next one looks clean. Will you piss in a bad looking urinal? If you, the mortal, will not use something that is not clean, you think divinity will descend through you unless you are pure? And purity, how will you attain without daily spiritual practice? How will you ever attain? Who gave you this feeling that spirituality is for old age? At least with exercise, I'm ready to tell you from Sunday. With spirituality, I'm not even ready to tell. Today, before you go to sleep, few minutes, whatever, Mahatria, but I don't know any of this. Nothing is required. Close your eyes, visualize your God in Bhagavad Gita so beautifully. When Arjuna asked Krishna, where can I experience you? After all this is over, where can I experience you? And Krishna tells Arjuna, for those of them who search for me in the outside world, they never find me. For those of them who are ready to close their eyes, they will find me nearer than the nearest, he says. What essentially in modern language, if I have to say, Krishna says, Aasu paas kuda nahi hai, mera paas hi kuda hai. But I have to close my eyes to experience it. If I can shut myself from my contact with the world outside for a few minutes, that is in simple layman's language meditation. For a few minutes every day with God. So if each one of you can practice your basic primary responsibilities of taking care of your health, so that you are not a physical nuisance to your loved ones. If you don't take care of your health, they will suffer the most. If you can ensure that wealth creation is done in such a way that it becomes an expression of constructive charity, something for something, by creating educational opportunities and employment opportunities and serving the larger good in my leadership, if I can ensure that not only the larger circumference is loved, but my inner circle called family also, starting today I will ensure that they will feel loved like they have never felt before. If I can be a happy entrepreneur where I do my business with ishtam passion and not going on cribbing about custom about everything, and if I can ensure that there is dinacharya in my spiritual practice, you will grow holistically. And if 300 of you can grow holistically, 10 years from now, we don't need speakers to come and tell a forum what you need to do. There'll be enough living role models. We can just look around and get our life right. Both speeches chal raha hai. So I want to end the speech by sharing. All of you would have heard it, but there's no better conclusion to this. The father was reading the newspaper, and his little girl came and said, Dad, why don't you play with me? But the father wanted to read the newspaper. So just then he saw there was this DHL courier, international courier, world map printed on the newspaper, and all over the world we can deliver. One ad was there. In a moment of situational brilliance, The father tore the sheet of paper, tore it into multiple sheets, scattered it all over the floor, and he told his little daughter, Beta, this is your jigsaw puzzle. Assemble the world map properly, and once you get the world map properly, Dad will play with you. And thinking he has bought time, he started continuing to read the newspaper. In less than 10 minutes, the child got the entire world map right. The father was stunned when he saw it. He knew his own IQ level, so he thought his daughter was a genetical skip. How did you do it in such a short time? He asked. The child said, Dad, I have to be honest with you. When you were tearing the paper, I saw there was a face of a man on that side, Dad. Dad, I don't know where is New Zealand, where is Canada, where is America, where is India. But I know where nose should be, where forehead should be, where ear should be. And it seemed the child said on behalf of all of us, Dad, I got the man right, the world became right. And that is the only way we can get the world right. If enough of we individuals can get the man within us right, collectively, we will get the world right. Love you all so much. Thank you.